Dave and Darren's Top 5 Things. It's time for our 2021 St. Patrick's Day
Spooktacular.
Spooktacular. We're thrilled to be here presenting it for you, and we're glad you're on board for it. Thanks for downloading the show, subscribing, rating, and reviewing all of those things. Also, thanks to Nature's Treatment of Illinois for being the sponsor of this very special St. Patrick's Day Spooktacular.
A lot of ghosts and goblins in this episode. Again, brought to you by Nature's Treatment of Illinois. Nature's Treatment offers a wide selection of products for recreational use, including flower, vapes, and edibles. They have 2 locations, one in Milan and one in Galesburg, and now you can order online from the Galesburg location using Leafly by going to their website. That is ntillinois.com.
We'll start with number 1.
Number one.
Number one.
Got a story here, and I don't think it'll shock you when I tell you that it's from the state of Florida. And this is something, I don't know if this is a trend, if it's always been this way, or if it just seems like this is where we're at right now as a species. But it's a story where someone had no business doing something. There was no way it was going to end well, but they figured they'd do it anyway because I don't know if they willed themselves into believing something, or a woman pretended to be a plastic surgeon. Now,
how do you pull that off?
Well, here's the thing. If you want to play pretend that you're a plastic surgeon, that's fine, up until the point that you're doing nose jobs. Pretended to be a plastic surgeon, botched a nose job, and then got arrested mid-procedure.
Okay, but there's always the person that is going along with this, the patient, right?
Well,
and where does this surgery take place? Like in a living room? Oh, well, that seems normal.
That would be...
As opposed to going to, say, a clinic or a hospital.
That would be something of a giveaway.
Why is this taking place in your living room?
Yeah, when you're going to have your rhinoplasty performed in a garage...
And how do you settle on this doctor?
Florida woman arrested after cops say she posed as a licensed plastic surgeon and botched a man's nose job. According to the Miami Herald, Alcaria Jimenez de Rodriguez was in the middle of performing another procedure on Thursday when the cops arrested her. Do you let her finish? What are you doing?
Is the reason that this is allowed to happen, or does happen, is because people, I like the price that she was offering. Now,
I didn't see any degrees on the wall, but I also thought the savings. I'm not mad about these savings.
$99.99.
Hello, I'm Alacaria Jimenez de Rodriguez, and I'll fix any nose for $99.99. Authorities began to investigate her last month after they received a complaint from a former patient who said that his nose job had been botched. The victim in that case, Vincenzo Zarullo, said he met Jimenez de Rodriguez through a friend.
That's not a friend.
He had been getting Botox treatments for a few months before he asked her about getting a nose job. He says he's unhappy with the procedure and was suffering from extreme pain. That's when the imaginary plastic surgeon offered to perform a second corrective procedure.
Yeah, we can fix this.
Those results were also something of a disappointment. Paid $2,800 for this nose job. This woman is not licensed to practice medicine in the state of Florida. She's being held in the Miami-Dade County Jail on a $5,000 bond, charged with practicing medicine without a license and resisting arrest without violence. How is this?
In her living room.
That, again, would be something of a giveaway. The fact that...
Most people wanted $10,000 for a nose job.
Listen.
$2,800. I can't afford not to do this.
My nostrils are pointing the wrong way. But...
I can't go outside when it rains. I'm going to need a leaf filter.
This guy says,
I'm drowning over here.
this guy says my nose wasn't right. I had this lump close to the tip of my nose, and she was finding excuses. Then she said it was liquid accumulated, but no, it was not. It was something that was wrong. Pain in the nose didn't go away, so he contacts Jimenez de Rodriguez for a medical license number. She did not provide it. That's when he called the Florida Department of Health. And that's when he found out, yeah, that woman's not a doctor. She has a clinic, it says here, in Doral, Florida. How do you have a clinic if you're an imaginary plastic surgeon?
I don't know. And how do you pay for all of that? Yes, that's correct. I'll be at the clinic.
The clinic. She was in the middle of performing surgery when police arrived at the clinic. This guy tells the news down there, I feel abused. I feel like somebody used me as a piece of meat just because she decided one day she'd like to play plastic surgeon. But
I just don't know how much sympathy I can have for somebody who can allow someone who is clearly not a doctor to operate on them.
Well, I'm looking at...
It's one thing for Larry to pull people's teeth that were coming out anyway.
Right,
You
right.
know.
No, that's a good point. That's a good point.
But he didn't really solicit that.
So you don't feel bad for people that get scammed when it's so obvious. Like, of course this woman wasn't a doctor.
How can I feel bad?
She's wearing scrubs in her...
There are so many other things that are legitimate that I could feel bad about. That this, I'm sorry, doesn't make my list. My dance card is filled.
All right. I've got one for
I don't
you.
suffer morons, okay?
I've got one for you. A woman in Texas. Now, this does not involve medical malpractice, but it involves being a dummy. She's speaking out. This is in North Richland Hills, Texas. She is not being identified because she doesn't want to become a target again. But this is a woman who lost $200,000 in a romance scam. Unsolicited, Bruno Mars contacts her and tells her, I love you, I want to marry you, but I need some money.
Oh, it's Bruno. Bruno needs money.
Bruno Mars needs money. This is the woman who...
I guess I need to start cooking up scams because apparently you people will fall for any of them.
I have the same reaction after I read this story. I thought,
I mean,
I could
there's
do
not
this.
there's not a scam that is too ridiculous, right?
I'd much rather convince people I'm Bruno Mars than try and cut someone's nose
well,
off.
I don't want to be.
And this seems like it's potentially...
Oh, it's Bruno.
This seems like it's a lot more lucrative. This seems like an opportunity to make a lot more money in a hurry. Let me give you some of this. This woman who was scammed...
With someone pretending to be entertainer Bruno Mars.
Cybercrimes prosecutors say he befriended her on Instagram, convinced her that he was the famous entertainer and that he needed help with his touring expenses.
For the first time, she is speaking out about the money and the men behind this scheme. She agreed to the interview as long as we don't identify her. So for this story, we're just going to call her Jane. She's concerned about her safety and doesn't want to become a victim again.
I don't want to find out that, you know, I don't want to know that
I'm a soft target.
Blake Shelton needs a couple of bucks to get him to
Because I'll
payday.
fall for it.
So help me, I'll fall for it. I don't want to say my name because this is the sort of thing I will fall for again.
Jane says she was adjusting to a new life in 2017. Her husband of 25 years had passed away. She moved into a new home, bought a new phone, and joined social media.
I thought, well, they are my friends, right?
She communicated with friends and strangers. One man came on strong right away.
The first thing that they sent to me was, I want to marry you. And they sent Bruno Mars pictures to me.
The profile had the singer's name and photos, so Jane believed it was the Bruno Mars just looking for someone to talk to.
And the pictures of Bruno Mars aren't like a selfie taken with a phone.
No.
It's his headshots.
Publicity shots.
Yes. If you Google image Bruno Mars, those are the pictures. Here's a text. Want to make you so happy. Just being the new 33-year-old refined. Done that, been there, know what I want. Going to let my hair down and be the new magnificent magic Bruno Mars. Love man, you dream of yourself. That you create the best of you this world. World won't see you coming.
Okay, that's not how anyone talks.
No!
You clearly don't speak our language.
They spent weeks trading messages.
That's the first they do is they try to be your friend and get to know you, get to be comfortable with you.
Bruno said he was in a bind. He needed $5,000 right away to pay for rental cars.
Bruno Mars needs $5 large to pay Enterprise Rental Car Company. I need $5,000. It says, honey, please, babe, help me so I can pay this damn people. $5,000 for rental cars. Like no other, please. What?
Why aren't you speaking in English?
Well, you know, he's Bruno Mars. He's got his own way of talking.
You haven't mastered our language,
Bruno,
have you?
well, but it works. That's what drives me crazy about this is, of course, this is a terrible idea, this scam. You don't really have command of our language.
No.
It's obvious to, I would think, anyone that, of course, you're not Bruno Mars. This woman gave them $200,000.
When she didn't immediately say no, he asked for more.
It went from 5 to 10 to then we start getting bigger. Okay.
Jane sent a cashier's check for $10,000, but Bruno said he needed more help, more money for his tour.
The next thing I knew, I was going to the bank and I was cashing out all my bonds.
She handed over another cashier's check, this time for $90,000. Bruno said he was sending her something, an engagement ring. It arrived in a priority envelope from a Houston address with Mars's name.
And the return address, it looks like he spells his name Bruno Mars. Can't even spell Bruno, this guy.
It wasn't like we were in love, like love. It was more like I was in love with his talent.
He asked to come live with her in North Richland Hills. Jane was excited.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
I need to come live with you at your place. Is that cool? This is where it takes an even dumber turn.
Spent more money buying musical equipment and making room for the entire band.
I set up a studio in my garage. I bought some instruments for him. The band was going to stay here. I put some bunk beds up for him.
Bunk beds?
Well, the band needs to live in her house, too.
Bunk beds? Who do you think we are, the Hudson Brothers?
She needed a place for the whole band to come and live, you see. And she got bunk beds, and then she got all these musical instruments, which it looks like she had personalized. Like the guitar says Bruno Mars on it. You know, nothing but the best. Baby, I need a place for me and the whole band to come and live. She turns her garage
You
into
got
a
it.
studio.
Another text message emergency. Mars's plane had been detained in Washington, D.C. He was in police custody until he could pay fees to the airport and the pilot. An outrageous story, we know, but she believed it.
My plane's been detained, and if I don't give the pilot money, I can't get off the plane.
I've been skyjacked by the pilots.
And the airport.
The airport.
The airport and the pilot are the ones who have skyjacked this plane.
They've skyjacked me.
I can't get off the plane until I give the pilot money. And this dummy's like, well, I gotta get Bruno off that plane.
They were constantly showing me pictures of them in jail, pictures of Bruno Mars in jail.
It seems a lot like they're playing to your emotions. I mean, what were you feeling during all of this?
That they needed my help because I help people. That's all I know to do. I've always given from my heart.
Jane says the relationship consumed her life. She was up all night answering messages, spending her days buying cashier's checks and withdrawing cash around town. She collected another $50,000. That's when the scammers became even bolder.
Bruno had someone come here to get that money so they could get him out of jail. It had to be quickly, of course. Security guard needed the money right now. Everything was emergency.
A man appeared at her front door and took the money for Mars's release. The fake Bruno said he wanted to fly to Texas right away, but he needed $5,000 for jet fuel.
That's the greatest. All right, baby. The pilot's paying off. The airport's paying off. Thanks for sending the money.
I'm no longer a hostage.
We are able to leave, but all this time sitting on the tarmac, we're out of gas. I need $5,000 for jet fuel, and then I'll be there. Babe, no one to borrow from. And he spells no one, K-N-O-W. Babe, no one to borrow from. You know I don't like borrowing. You know I don't like borrowing.
You know how I am.
That's all you've done, Bruno Mars. To refill the jet is just $5,000. If you do it today, tomorrow I will be in Texas with my plane.
And the band.
After months of giving and giving and giving, Jane finally realized she'd been duped.
Now they threatened to poison and kill me if I didn't give them the money. That's the way it got near the end. It doesn't get any better. As you start.
Bruno Mars is going to poison her?
And kill her. Now, if you don't give Bruno Mars his money, he is going to poison you, and you will be dead. Wow.
Giving to these people, they just want more and more and more.
She contacted police who traced the cashier's checks to 2 Nigerian citizens in Houston. Both are charged with money laundering. It's believed the mastermind, the Mars imposter, is overseas.
I'm so ashamed that this happened to me. I'm so sorry that I helped this person, even though I thought he was a famous person.
But even now, Jane says she's still a fan of the real Bruno Mars.
He got on Instagram and said, hey, I need some help. I'd help him out.
Jane couldn't really explain to us why she didn't tell anyone what was happening sooner. She just bought in and let herself believe. And this, I know, it's an extreme example, but the FBI says romance scams are on the rise.
This woman deserves to have all of her money gone. Like, this is.
You can't be trusted.
No. And she's only doing the interview because she's certain it'll happen to her again. $200,000 they got from this woman, Darren.
Mm-hmm.
And that $200,000. Baby, I've been taken hostage by the airport and the pilot.
I'll be there in Texas tomorrow if I can get the fuel. And I tell you this, let me tell you this. If you don't have those bunk beds ready, I'll poison you 2 seconds after I get there and kill you.
Know this.
Those bunk beds better be made.
If those bunk beds aren't made, and I mean, I need to be able to bounce a quarter off.
Right,
them,
hospital corners.
Oh my God. Communicated with Bruno Mars. And at some point, they're going to let Bruno Mars know about this story. He can't feel guilty about this, right?
And don't give her any money.
No, because she'll just give it away. If Bruno Mars is like, this is terrible, I'm going to give this woman $200,000
Bruno Mars
back.
shouldn't do, if he hears about this, shouldn't do anything more than shrug his shoulders.
He should write a song called The Dumbest Woman in Texas and make that a #1 smash hit.
You're going psycho.
Number 2.
Dave and Darren in the morning on Planet 93.9. It's our St. Patrick's Day Spooktacular for 2021. Got another grown-up Tom Sawyer. This started, was it 2019 when there was a guy that took a log into the river in Davenport and made it as far as Rock Island. And his plan was he was going to go down to Kentucky. Then there were the
But that whole thing about... I love the fact that he started in Davenport and ended in Rock Island. In my day, they would call that a lateral move.
Yeah.
That's not getting you any closer to Kentucky.
You're right. No, you're right. Well, I mean, listen, at least he landed in a state that borders Kentucky.
Everybody
Give him
knows
that.
this is nowhere.
Right. Then there was the Knuckleheads who were on a mattress doing some ice fishing in Rockford back in February, and the ice went loose, and they were just rolling down the Rock River on a mattress.
Smoking cigarettes.
There were the two Australian guys who were on a raft, an inflatable mattress, and they got blown out to sea.
Because they were drinking beer.
Well, they only got concerned when they realized they'd run out of beer, right? Then there's this story from Missouri. This happened on Monday night. A 21-year-old man is dead after he fell off an air mattress that he and a friend were using to float down the river. Seems like a bad idea to do that any time of year, and I don't know how. I can't imagine Missouri is much warmer than we are.
If I got in the river,
Yeah.
and I got out of the river,
Yes.
what kind of skin disease would I end up with?
Oh my gosh! Like right
Or
now.
or what I should be asking, how many skin diseases would I be dealing with? The idea of splashing around in the river.
Yeah, that's not great.
I don't know.
It's not a good idea. Any river. Taking a look here at the river temperature right now, trying to figure out, you don't want to get in there. You don't want to get in there under any circumstances.
Well, see, that's what I was kind of thinking, Dave.
Yeah.
So I'm not wrong.
This guy wasn't swimming. He was floating on an air mattress like a grown-up Tom Sawyer down there in Missouri, trying to make his way down to Cairo.
Now, I'll say this. I've slept on an air mattress before,
Yeah.
but I wasn't in a river. I don't know that I could ever get that comfortable where I'm falling asleep on an air mattress while I'm in the river.
7:20 p.m. on Monday, deputies responded to a report of an unresponsive person who'd fallen off a raft into the water. When they arrived, they found Bradley Dill lying on the creek bank. Medics attempted to perform CPR on him, but he was pronounced dead en route to the hospital.
But now he's dead.
Yeah. Dill drowned after he and a friend tied themselves together at the wrists and got on an air mattress to float down the creek.
Now, what purpose does that serve?
I don't know.
Buddies forever, I guess.
I know.
I've got an idea.
Bradley wanted to see the rapids on the other side of the bridge.
We'll call this air mattress Toad Float 1.
Terry Trickles. Wait a minute. Let's say
What happened to the other guy?
this is the point. Let's say you and I, and for the sake of the argument here, assume that we're the kind of people that would do this sort of thing.
And we
I
are.
say to you, no, we're not. If I say to you, Darren, let's get on an inflatable raft, and by that I mean an air mattress,
Okay.
and float down the river together.
I'm not.
And to really make it cool, let's tie ourselves together at the wrists.
I'm not hating this idea.
Dill's friend managed to get him out of the heavy current and onto the bank where he called for help. They got to the other side of the bridge where the rapids were. They arrived, and the air mattress came out from beneath him, and he fell into the water. Well, then they both fell into the water then,
Yeah.
right? How does the one guy, is Bradley dead because the one guy called being on top of the water and he had to be below it? How does that work?
Well, like I say, there's fun in the water, but there's danger too. Stay close to others
Yeah. So you know what to do?
so you know what to do.
Well, our plan was we were just going to float down the river and check out the rapids on an air mattress. That seemed like a dumb enough idea, but then we thought, how do we take it to the next level?
Well, I don't completely trust you. I don't completely trust that you wouldn't leave me.
Let's
during
tie
this
ourselves
adventure.
together at the wrists. Hey, man, you know what we are now? We're mattress buddies.
You know what this is? Do you have any idea what this is? This is a new adventure in hi-fi, man.
Number 3.
Marilyn Hartman is in the news again. Marilyn Hartman. Any idea how old Marilyn Hartman is?
Marilyn Hartman?
Yeah, Marilyn Hartman. If you had to guess, how old did you say Marilyn Hartman is?
100 years old.
No.
69, dudes!
Marilyn Hartman is a name you may not remember, but you'll remember the story. This is the woman who has a history of stowing away on airplanes. She got arrested.
You mean in the landing gear?
No. She'll just like help herself onto planes.
How do you do that?
It's crazy that she's able to do it at all, but she has done it.
I've never been capable of going to the Quad City International Airport without a plane ticket and getting on a plane.
Well, they'll tell you this. The secret is to act like you belong there.
Well, of course.
I could never pull that off.
Walk into a hospital and pretend you're a doctor.
Right. This woman has a history of stowing away on airliners, arrested yesterday for attempting to sneak onto a flight at O'Hare in Chicago.
Now, shouldn't that be kind of a decent-sized penalty?
Well, yeah, especially since this hasn't, this is not her first rodeo.
Rodeo?
The arrest came 2 weeks after a judge rejected a plea deal that would have given her probation for a previous attempt to stow away on a flight. She's being held on a trespassing charge. She left the facility where she had been staying while on electronic monitoring. The device allowed the Cook County Sheriff's deputies to track her as she headed for O'Hare. When you know that that's what this screwball does, she gets on planes,
doing it
and then
again.
You're watching that dot on the map go closer and closer to O'Hare.
I know where she's going.
Can crack that case. Deputies activated an alarm on her device as she neared terminal number 1, where she was arrested. So her ankle's making noises. Officials of the Cook County Sheriff's Deputy Department say plans are to seek a felony escape charge for this woman. The arrest comes 2 weeks after a court hearing in which her attorneys and prosecutors said they reached a plea deal on a pending case that would have imposed 18 months of probation, plus court-ordered mental health treatment. Formal plea proceedings had not begun, but the judge is saying, yeah, that deal's off the table. She was arrested at O'Hare in October of 2019, just as she was trying to pass the second of 2 security checkpoints. Released from Cook County Jail a year ago in an effort to release low-risk detainees from contracting COVID-19.
Where does she want to go?
Anywhere, man.
Anywhere but here.
Anywhere. Get me out of Chicago. This Andy Dalton news tears it. I got to get out of this stupid town.
Well, at least that makes sense.
Arrested at O'Hare in October of 2019, just as she was trying to get through checkpoints. 2019 arrest violated her probation sentence for sneaking past O'Hare security in January of 2018 when she boarded a jet and flew to London's Heathrow Airport without a ticket.
Now, was that because of Mike Glennon? Is she just constantly trying to get out of Chicago because of all these bad quarterback decisions we're making?
That's what it is.
It makes sense. Why did we trade up for Mitch? I'm out of here.
Gotta get out of this stupid town. I get it, honey. I get it. Believe me, I've been there.
We signed Nick Foles? I'm out of Chicago. Get me on a plane out of here.
I have been consumed myself with the urge to get out of Chicago. Now, I left by vehicle, and it was my own vehicle. That was how I did it. There's plenty of ways to escape the Windy City. Believe me. You don't have to stow away. But this must be like how she gets her kicks, right?
I guess.
Getting on planes without buying a ticket. So she's done it a bunch of times to the point where she's gone to jail and then
still willing
walked
to do
away
it
from
again.
a facility with an ankle monitoring device on, heads to the O'Hare Airport again. Why wouldn't you just buy this woman a one-way ticket somewhere?
Because she doesn't really want to go anywhere.
You think it's the thrill of getting caught? Like when she went to Heathrow, you need to have a passport. They're going to ask you some questions when you go to a foreign country. Mm-hmm. Did she have that part figured out?
Don't you need a passport before you leave the country?
Not really, no. No, you need a passport to get into a place. You don't need a passport to get out of a place.
Well, where do they think you're going?
Well, they know where you're going from the ticket that you bought.
Yeah,
You present your passport when you arrive at a place. You don't present your passport when you leave a
I'm
place.
trying to remember when I went to Japan, if I didn't have to show a passport before I left this country.
What will be the point of that? So they can keep track of the fact
To
that you
make sure
left?
that I had a passport. Do you have a passport? Because you're going to need one.
Staying on an electronic monitoring program. This happened around noon. And yeah, I got to imagine that it had to be super fun when you're the person who monitors this nightmare and you just see that dot getting closer and closer to O'Hare.
She's reacting to this Andy Dalton stuff.
Gotta get out of this screwball town.
They can't make one decision that makes any sense.
She's been arrested multiple times at O'Hare, Midway, and airports across the country for trying to bypass airport security.
Tony La Russa. Get me on a plane.
I gotta get out of here. We're giving up you, Darvish, for what now? I'm out of here.
Don't tell me you're not rebuilding.
She just loves to get on planes without paying for tickets. Here's a little bit of her being interviewed. This is courtesy
made news for her ability to sneak past security, boarding those planes without even having an ID or a ticket. She ran what is essentially a confidence game. This in the post-9/11 era of supposed heightened airport security. Over the years, she has flown overseas a couple of times and domestically as well. She was picked up by Chicago police and turned over now to the Cook County Sheriff's Department here at the airport.
To do all of this post-9/11 is just crazy. Like, part of me is not even mad at this lady because it's kind of a skill. It's kind of a magic trick she's able to do. But yeah, I bet the Chicago cops.
I don't need her on my plane. That's all I know.
Hey, we got you. We got you. Your ankle device just went off.
We don't agree with this contract either.
Nobody's happy about Andy Dalton playing at Soldiers Field, but I'll tell you right now, you can't be getting on planes, sweetheart.
Number 4.
Dave and Darren, it's our St. Patrick's Day
Spooktacular
2021. Tonight, St. Patrick's Day, seems like a good idea to launch a Christmas cartoon. Well, that's what Sci-Fi Network is doing. It's a new animation block that they're launching on the Sci-Fi Channel, and there's a show tonight that'll be making its debut at 10:15 on Sci-Fi. The show is called The Pole. It's a behind-the-scenes look at what goes on at the North Pole, and the star of the show, you remember from Saturday Night Live and a million other cartoons that he's been a voice of, Bobby Moynihan joining us this morning. Good morning, Bobby.
Good morning. How are you? Merry Christmas.
Yes, and happy St. Patrick's Day as well.
St. Patrick's Day,
Yes.
St. Patrick's Day, a weird time to launch a Christmas cartoon, although this isn't really a Christmas cartoon, even though it's about Santa, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Some would say the perfect time. It's about family and power struggles and family and what happens at the North Pole on the rest of the year.
Right, because
just like St. Patrick's Day.
That's what you wonder about. Like, once Christmas is over, well, what is he doing? This show will tell us what goes on the other 364 days of the year.
Exactly. It's all the scandals and the reality of what's going on with the elves.
The binge drinking, I'm imagining.
Lots of scandals, power struggle for who's going to be Santa. Jillian Bell plays Mrs. Claus, and they may not be having the best relationship. There may be some stuff going on outside of the relationship and the reality of that. I don't want to give any spoilers away, but it's very scandalous.
You got a couple of Saturday Night Live alums on this. I see Sashir Zameda is on it, and Colin Jost is the host of a news show in the North Pole, so that's got to be cool, right?
Yes, Colin Jost plays a tiny cocaine-using penguin, of course. As typecast.
I was going to say that. He's doing that again, huh?
Yeah, again. Always.
You have been You've been involved in so many animated projects, and obviously it's well deserved because you're incredibly talented. You have one of those voices that just sounds like it belongs in a cartoon, and I hope you take that as a compliment.
If it keeps the paychecks coming, sure. Thank you very much. Yes. No, I enjoy doing it a great deal. I grew up watching cartoons and feel very lucky that I get to make them now.
Maybe GPS might be something you might want to look into as well. That might not be a bad idea of voicing some GPS.
My first GPS had Snoop Dogg's voice, or like John Cleese's voice, as like you could use. I always used those.
And then you make the money on, which Bobby Moynihan character do you want? Do you want it to be Louie from DuckTales or drunk uncle telling you how to get places? Like, you could do all of that, and boy, I think that's a good way to monetize some stuff.
Right, I think so. I think I might start a cartoon GPS company.
Now, clearly, there's a lot of
you don't want some directions from some of my characters. I feel like you don't want directions from Drunk Uncle.
There are obviously a lot of younger people on Saturday Night Live now, but you were born after the original Saturday Night Live started, and I'm wondering, is there a name for that? Or, I mean, who else would have been someone who would have been maybe just a little bit older than you, but born after the original Saturday Night Live started? Because what is the cusp there, I guess?
Yeah, 75, October 75 it started. I was born January 77. So, I remember watching it as a kid and going back to watch the originals, but I like the idea of, we don't have a name for it, but I now am going to be obsessed with figuring that out.
Yeah, because you have to be one of the first ones.
Yeah, there's a couple year period there. I think who was born after the show started. Yeah, there. But it's funny, like the seasons vary. Like I find it insane that I'm older than both Bill Hader and Andy. I feel like they're older brothers to me, but I'm older than them. And then there's people like Jay Farrow, who's was 20 when he started, I think, or I think Abby Elliott was the youngest, or Eddie Murphy at 19 maybe. But yeah, no, I'm an old man in SNL terms.
Bobby Moynihan.
And probably real terms.
It's Bobby Moynihan, and you're married to Bryn O'Malley, so I have to imagine there'll be some St. Patrick's Day festivities going on later on tonight, in time for the premiere.
Oh, no, we have a 3-year-old. We're in bed by 8.
Well, then there it is. Set your DVRs. The show is called The Poll, and it premieres tonight at 10:15 on Sci-Fi. It was a gas having you on. We've been fans forever. Keep up the good work. It's always great to hear your voice, whether it's on We Bare Bears or DuckTales or now The Poll. It was great having you on the show, Bobby.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, Bobby Moynihan.
5. Number 5.
Friday and Saturday, and I guess even Sunday, are supposed to be pretty nice with sunshine and better temperatures.
It can rain all it wants today. I'm just going to be in the garage.
What are you doing in the garage?
St. Patrick's Day is what I'm doing in the garage, buddy. You're welcome to come over.
Changing your oil?
No, I'm going to be drinking beer.
Green beer?
Nah, that's not for me. But, if that's what you're into, enjoy. I don't tell people what they should like.
Yeah, if you do drink some green beer,
yeah,
just remember that you drank green beer so you don't freak out later, okay? Like Larry with the black jelly beans from Mexico.
Story from Ontario of a guy who forgot what car he was driving and reported it missing.
Oh, boy. We've been there. Telling the story.
49-year-old Ontario man who left his kid in the car, forgot what car he was driving, and as a result reported that someone had abducted his child and stolen his white Jaguar.
How old was the kid?
That I don't know.
Why are you leaving your kid in the car?
You shouldn't be doing that. No, that's bad.
I mean, unless he's like 16.
Okay, the kid is 4.
No.
Yeah.
No.
This isn't bad all around. This happened on Sunday. The guy calls the cops to report that his white Jaguar had been stolen from a parking lot. He'd left his 4-year-old kid sitting in the back seat. So the cops figured, well, we got a stolen Jaguar, and then
I can see why someone would want one of those.
The Jag?
Yes.
Yeah. Police sent out a missing vehicle alert and were preparing an Amber Alert when this guy realized his mistake, realizing, oh, I took a different car today. So they say here in the press release, through investigation, it was determined that the allegations were false. The complainant indicated he was actually driving a different vehicle at the time. Police rushed to the scene and located the appropriate vehicle with the child safe inside.
And how long did all this take?
45 minutes after he made the
dawned
call
on him.
to the cops, that's when the police tweeted that the kid was safe. So he takes the kid somewhere, leaves the kid in the car, gets out, does whatever he's doing, thought he drove another car, so he's looking for that car, doesn't find it, and assumes...
Well, that I've driven like Rhonda's car.
Yeah.
You know, she'll say, hey, would you mind putting some gas in the vehicle? And, and I'm going to stop and get something at the grocery store or whatever, that sort of thing. And then you come out of the grocery store and I'm looking for my car. And I can't find my car but I'm in Rhonda's car. So, of course, I can't find my car. I can see that happening.
Now, if you had a dog in the car...
No, I wouldn't be doing that. The only time the dogs are left in the car is if somebody's in the car with them.
Right.
What about the time that you drove the wrong vehicle home?
Well, I drove the right vehicle home.
Well, it was the same make and model. It's just not yours.
Yes. Yeah,
and the fact that the key worked, and it dawned on you because there was a radio?
So I'll tell the story. I was at the time driving a Saturn SC2.
Oh, that was a sweet ride.
It was. And
did you ever go to any of those barbecues?
No,
the Saturn barbecues.
No, I wasn't interested in going to any barbecues. I was in Rock Island. I was at Steve's Old Time Tap, home of the Dave and Darren Burger. And when I had enough, I decided, okay, got to get out of here. Now, I have to rewind the story a couple of days because when I was living in Davenport, we would regularly have our garage broken into. And not once, but twice, they stole the radio from my car, which had a tape deck in it. And
yes, they stole the tape deck.
Yeah, they took the tape deck out of my vehicle.
Took the radio too, right?
Yeah, the whole radio was taken out. And
the whole thing.
Yeah, you know. Listen, when you want to smoke some crack cocaine, the $8 you'll get for a tape deck goes a long way.
Don't know that.
Yeah, that's what I know.
You don't. Don't you?
I'm telling
don't
you what
you dare.
Why would you steal a tape deck? This wasn't in the 80s or 90s.
I like music, and I want to listen to it.
So I go out for a couple of beers. My wife's out of town, and I go to Steve's, have a couple of beers, and then I parked in the parking garage there in Rock Island, downtown Rock Island. And I get in my car, and I'm driving home. I'm on the Centennial Bridge, and at the time, I was listening to, it must have been a Saturday night because I was listening to the Lou Brutus hard drive show that we had on the rock station at the time.
And then all of a sudden,
and I remember thinking like, man, this is such a good show. I'm glad that we have this on the air. He sounds great. And then I realized as I'm making my way from Illinois to Iowa, I realized, wait a minute, I don't have a radio.
No, I don't. It was stolen.
And then I noticed that there was like this Beanie Baby.
Little bobblehead.
Yeah, it was a Beanie Baby sitting on the dashboard. And then I realized, well, that's not mine. And then it occurs to me.
I've clearly stolen a car.
Yeah,
I'm some sort of felon.
I've taken a stolen vehicle now across a state line. And
the Mann Act.
Yeah. Well, so then I panic.
Maybe not the Mann Act, but I just like to say the Mann Act.
The Mann Act is when you have an underage girl in the car.
I know.
I was quite alone, I can assure you. So then I panic, and then I'm freaking out, like, what do I do? And I called Jeff over at Steve's. I'm like, what do I do? I'm in a car, and it's not my car. And he goes, buddy, let me tell you something.
The fixer.
You park that car.
The wolf.
You get the hell out of that car. You park it, leave it in downtown Davenport. Get in a cab. Come back here, have a couple more beers, and we'll figure this out.
Then we'll figure it out. Why didn't you just take it back?
Well, because I'm assuming they're waiting for me. Like, I assume I'm driving a stolen vehicle. I'm assuming, like, there's probably an APB out for me right now.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I was only...
suspicious man.
Well, I was only... in the vehicle for maybe 3 minutes.
Right. So it's possible that they hadn't gone back to their car. And might not for like days.
either the cops are looking for me or they're waiting for me in the parking garage.
The cops might even be waiting for you as you pull in.
It's worth pointing out, this is the parking garage that is directly across the street from the police station in Rock Island.
Uh-huh. They can walk there.
Right, and do.
And did.
So I decided, no, I can't, I have to bring the vehicle back. So I
Yes.
do that. I bring the vehicle back to the parking garage.
There's no one there waiting for you.
No, thank goodness. I see my vehicle. Now, I had parked on like the ground level, but for some reason I thought I parked on the second level.
And that's where you went and found the identical car.
I found my car identical, and I then parked the missing car, the car that I borrowed without my knowledge, parked it next to my car. So when they found their car, their car was parked in the same spot but on a different level.
Well, that's not the same spot then.
That's none of my business. I got to get the hell out of
That
here.
might have blown their mind.
Well, or did they think, could have sworn we parked on the other level.
Maybe I'm having a senior moment.
Yeah. So then I got out of the car and got into my car and then made it home safe.
Oh, you didn't stop over at Steve's for more advice?
No. No, I drove home.
You didn't get more advice from Jeff?
Drove home terrified. Got home.
Yeah.
Kept all the lights off in the house.
And then at that time you thought, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy.
Here's what I think.
I need Jenny worse than I think I need her.
There's that.
I can't navigate this world on my own.
And I'm not good at keeping secrets. So then I'm in the house. It's like 11 o'clock on a Saturday night. And she calls me because she was away down in Macomb where she grew up visiting friends. She calls me to just say, hey, what's going on? And the phone rings and I'm like, okay, you're going to be cool. You're going to talk to your wife. You're going to tell her at your house that you went out for a couple beers. You're going to keep your cool. You're not going to tell her that you accidentally stole a vehicle. And I pick up the phone. I say hello. She says, hey, what are you up to? And I go, I stole a car.
Well, because it's just...
I stole a car.
No, because it's
Jesus Christ, I'm a felon now.
Because it's too good a story to sit on.
No, it was.
I need you to come home because I shouldn't be living alone in this world. I'm not capable of
5 hours
doing
after you left, I stole a vehicle.
And I might have committed the Mann Act.
There was never an underage girl involved in the car. Quit
know.
throwing that out there. Because then the story's going to be, hey, did you hear Dave and Darren this morning? He was talking about how he had a girl in the trunk of the car.
Regular Chuck Berry.
No. There was a Beanie Baby on the hood, and the Beanie Baby looking at me when I realized that I was in a vehicle that wasn't mine. And I realized this, too, right as I was at the center of the Centennial Bridge.
Yeah.
So it's like you
can't
just
turn around
You can't
there.
just whip around. I had to kind of go around downtown Davenport and make my way back. But yeah, that was something else. That was maybe the most afraid I've ever been in my life. It was like, oh great.
They're waiting for me.
This is how it ends. Yeah. But this was many years before I was a father. There was not a child in the car. There was not a girl in the car. It was just me, a functional radio. But here's the other thing too, though. Their radio was on our radio station when I turned the car on. Like, I didn't have to go. If I had gotten in the car and it was on, like, B100 or something, I would have instantly known this isn't my vehicle.
I'll take that as a compliment.
So, I mean, I stole the car from a listener. So, you know, there's that.
Is it all over, Rock?
I guess so.
I didn't think it'd be like this.
Oh, pretty spooky.
I'm sure I speak for all of us when I say that was the most terrifying St. Patrick's Day Spooktacular
ever.
Thanks to Nature's Treatment of Illinois for helping make it happen.
Yeah, their goal is to fully understand their clients' needs physically, mentally, and emotionally because they know it's not easy to live with a chronic illness. Their experienced wellness consultants will sit down with you and discuss the options that work best to make you feel more comfortable. And if you'd like, you can take a look at some frequently asked questions. Those are answered at the website ntillinois.com.
Until we get a chance to do it for you again, hang loose, kooks.
And you stay classy and safe, Quad Cities.
Come on, Quad Cities, represent. This is for the Quad Cities record spot. Davenport, yeah, we keeping it locked. Rock Island, come on, and it just don't stop. East Moline, yeah, they keeping it hot.